Chapter 9. Vibrate on. With the Kijin now joined by the newly evolved hobgoblins and tempest wolves, the ogre village has expanded to just over 1,000 inhabitants. By Raphael's estimates, we were already the most potent force in the Jura forest, so now I suspect we've gotten closer to that of a proper military powerhouse. Yet, we still haven't done much in the way of establishing contact and thus trade with external groups. This wasn't a problem initially, but with our ever-expanding populace, it is only a matter of time before major problems arise. Xian? Lord Rimuru, the food has been prepared. Looking up, I find Xian setting the last dish down before me. It's not a particularly impressive dish, but given the poisonous death trap she'd started with when we first met, it is 100% progress. Me. Will you be eating too? Xian? I. Shuna. Lord Rimuru. I've prepared. Shuna stops just short of the makeshift pavilion I'm resting under. Going from the look in her eyes, she's noticed the food Xian's prepared, and an outburst is incoming. Shuna. Xian. Xian looks at the shorter girl with nothing but pride in her eyes as she comes over to me and sits in my lap, surprising us both. Xian? Lord Rimuru is mine. Shuna. Lord Rimuru. Both girls turn to me, but I can't exactly deny Xian's declaration. After all, I only became Lord Rimuru because I thought she was hot and wanted to gain her for myself. Shuna was an afterthought. Besides, it is still Xian whom I'm staying with until the house being built for me is fully furnished. Me. There's no need to fight. Both. But. Me. There are more important matters to handle. Shuna. I. Benimaru. There you are, Shuna. The. Shuna. Brother. Tell them. Benimaru, who just stepped up, clearly doesn't know what we're talking about, but still attempts to appease his sister by siding with her. His efforts prove fruitless, however, as Xian simply moves closer, thus infuriating Shuna even further. Me. Benimaru, you came here too. Benimaru? Ah, yes. The people have gathered and are awaiting your arrival. Me. Why? Benimaru? Ah well, you see. Xian? Lord Rimuru is busy with me. Me. I am? Shuna. He is? Xian, still in my lap, leans back as she wraps my hands around her waist. Sliding my right hand down between her legs as the left gets repositioned around the cusp of her breast, she grins deviously as she all but spits venom with her final word. Xian? Clearly. Shuna's cheeks go red, and Benimaru quickly excuses himself, but not before attempting to pull Shuna away. He fails, and as he leaves she gently slips her robe off her shoulder, allowing it to pool at her feet. Shuna. I will not be outdone. My eyes trace up her curves from toe to shoulder before my entire peripheral vision gets blocked by two massive domes. Xian's brought out the big guns, and in the face of such firepower, Shuna falls to the ground in defeat. Xian doesn't allow her to sulk for long before going over, and after some coercion manages to get Shuna to spread her legs for me. As Shuna does, Xian slips a single finger inside and begins working her from behind, earning soft moans that grow ever louder with each passing moment. As Xian continues moving the single finger around in circles, she turns Shuna's face towards her until her lips crash against her own. Shuna, already breathless from her moaning, now loses it altogether and begs me to allow her to orgasm. Raphael? I have completed the analysis required to simulate the male reproductive organ, Master. Me. Are you suggesting? Shuna. Lord Rimuru. Please. Me. Come for me. As if responding to my voice, Shuna's body lurches forward violently in an explosive orgasm. Even after her body collapses to the ground, her muscles continue to convulse periodically as she attempts to recover. Triumphant, Xian stands and steps over Shuna's otherwise immobile form before sliding her breast southward down my chest toward my groin. But she's only made it to my navel when Sao's voice reverberates within my mind, shattering all efforts to finally have some me time with the gals. Sao. Lord Rimuru. Me. Is it more goblins? Sao. No, my lord. It is an army of orcs. Me. Orcs? Sao. Yes, my lord, and they are heading this way. I'm gonna be the pirate king. Chapter 10. Dryad's request. The rawest form of fury courses through my veins as I sit at the head of the table in the unfinished conference room. The most important members of our little community are here, including Voldora, but nothing they say manages to soothe my rage. All orcs must die. Shuna. Lord Rimuru, please reconsider. Shuna begs, stating that completely exterminating an entire species will greatly upset the balance within the known world, but I couldn't care less. Their pesky invasion prevented me from getting laid. Such cock-blocking must be treated with the highest severity. Such as they deserve. Death or torture before death. Benimaru? Millard, I agree with my sister. While. Hero? Forget it, little brother. I'd recognize that look anywhere. Those are the eyes of one determined to kill. Our Lord has already made up his mind. Attempting to stop him any further will only result in you joining those orcs in a long list of beings marked for extinction. Both. But. Hero? Then there is the fact that they are launching an invasion of land under the protection of Lord Voldora, the penalty for which is also extinction. The room falls silent, but the brief respite is short-lived as Voldora soon begins laughing. Voldora? Ha 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 ha. Let them try. I'll crush them like bugs. Me. Get in line. Everyone else in the room tenses at my words, but Voldora merely laughs harder as he slaps me in the back. Voldora? Hey. How about a wager? Me. I'm not in the mood for games. Voldora. You win, I wipe them out for you while you get to have your fun. Me. And if you win? Voldora. There's a particular sister of mine that is rather. Me. Say no more. You have a deal. We both smile deviously before I turn to face Xian. She's remarkably remained silent throughout the entire proceedings so far, but as my hand slips between her legs out of view of the rest of the room, she closes her legs. I'm nothing if not a man on a mission, however, and it isn't long before brute strength forces her thighs open wide enough for my fingers to find the treasure they seek. Oblivious to my undertaking, the others begin making battle plans on how best to take out the orcs if we're already determined to engage them on the offensive. They've gotten to the point of theorizing about how orcs could unify like this in the first place, but with my entire being focused on fingering Xian, I hardly register any of their words until the words Orc Lord leave their lips. I perk up at that, but by now Xian's soaking wet, and now that she's horny, she quickly pulls my attention back to her luscious body as she takes control of my hand and pushes things even further. Xian? Lord Rimuru? Xian purrs as her eyes roll back in blissful ecstasy. My fingers twirl just beneath the surface of her lips. I'm like a wolf who's on the trail of dinner and Xian's my prey. Xian? More. I stop. Xian? Please? I continue, working harder than before. I'm sure the rest of the room is now distinctly aware of my hand movements and what they entail, but they know better than to get between me and Sawe. Lord Rimuru. Me. For fuck's sake. Sawe. Millard? Me. This had better be more important than death knocking on the very fucking door. Sawe. A dryad is requesting an audience. Me. Oh. All my interest in Xian vanishes at that, and after granting my consent to the meeting, I watch in amazement as the most perfect representation of the female specimen bears herself before me. Naked as the day we're all born, I watch as vines rope around her beauty until she's hidden from view. Me. Ahem. My body, naturally resistant to heat, boils. Steam rises from every pore in my skin, blinding me temporarily. By the time it clears, the dryad stands fully robed but no less radiant. Me. What can I do for such a perfect creature as yourself? Much to my displeasure, the little insect turns her gaze from me and onto an inferior Voldora. Lord Voldora, allow me to congratulate you on your return. Voldora? Raphael? Should I add her species to the extinction list? As if she can hear what Raphael suggests, the fiend turns to face me without a moment's delay and curtsies until her dress pools around her feet. Her knees must be offering her body support against a cool wooden flooring because she remains upright without much effort. Great Lord Rimuru, I have a request to make of you. Raphael? I advise refusal. Me. No. She seems genuinely hurt by the immediacy of my denial, but it doesn't deter her from saying what she came to say. I am Trainee, one of the dryads of the forest, and I have come to ask you to defeat the. Me. I thought I already told you. The answer's no. Ask Voldora, who you so clearly admire. Voldora. What did I do? I stand abruptly. Tension is thick in the air, but as I begin turning towards the door, I feel hands lay hold on my feet. Looking down, I find Trainee prostrating herself, as if trying to garner even the smallest bit of recognition. Trainee. Please. The forest will not. Me. I don't care. Now let go so that I can. Trainee. I'll do anything. My spirit lights a flame upon hearing that. Me? Anything? Trainee? I. A grin spreads across my face as I take her hand in mine and drag her unceremoniously to her feet. Without so much as a second glance toward Xian or the rest of the room, we're through the door and making our way towards the nearest house. Me. Raphael. Raphael? Prevent anyone from interfering? Done. As we pass through the door to the house, clones separate from me to stand watch just outside. Trainee opens her mouth to say something, but gets cut off when my lips crash against her own. My tongue violently forces her lips apart as my hands rip the fabric from her body. She attempts to put up mild resistance, but her efforts are futile. I might be in human form, but I'm still technically a slime, and with the many tentacle-like limbs pinning her to the walls, she's left wide open and bare for me as I create the perfect male organ. Her eyes widen in terror as she stares down at the massive blue pole, vanishing out of view behind the curve of her stomach. She struggles to break free, but in a strange twist of delectable sexy, her body arches ever forward, as if begging me to stick it in. I comply. Chapter 11. 6 minutes past 9. The sounds of Trainee moaning as I continue working her from the inside out send shivers of delight down my non-existent spine. She's given up on feigning resistance and now clings to me like a lifeline. The room's filled with overgrown flowers weeds that sprout each time she orgasms, and yet there's no stopping us. We make love on the floor and up against the wall. We make love on the table, the chair, and even over the raging fire in the kitchen. We're just about to head to the bed when Xian comes barging in. She catches us right after I slipped it back in, and I can't tell who the feeling of being caught excites more, me or Trainee who orgasms again. As her toes curl and her body arches forward, I watch Xian glare before quickly stripping out of her clothing. Seeing Xian's naked body bare before me while my imaginative pole remains within another's embrace sends me spiraling over the edge, and before I know it, I've mounted Xian, having planted her squarely between Trainee's still quivering legs. As both females' breasts rub against one another, they both moan out in pleasure, but there's only one thing on my mind, and as I continue pounding harder and harder, Xian's cries rise to meet the ferocity of my movements. Xian? I. Xian's brain goes blank as she orgasms again and again, but I refrain from stopping, instead going as far as to pick up the pace. She tries crawling away, but is no match for the tight hold my hands maintain on her legs. As such, she's left a quivering mess by the time I finally let her free. Xian? HNNNNGGG. Trainee? HNNNNGGG. Me. I am satisfied. Raphael? Does that mean you've decided not to wipe out all orcs? Me. Perhaps I'll spare a handful. Turning, I can't help the smile that spreads across my face upon seeing the two girls sprawled out across my bed, breathless and moving save for the occasional involuntary muscle movements they're still experiencing. Me. Rest now, my beauties. There is more where that came from. Shuna. Lord Rimuru. Shuna's cry is followed by a pounding on the front door. For a moment I allow myself to imagine that she's also here to join in on the fun, but quickly toss the thought aside. As much as her father might joke about me impregnating her, I have no intention of doing so. That'd be playing right into his hands. Besides, as far as the girls of the village are concerned, the only woman I need is Xian. She's got it all, and with sufficient training, I might even be able to turn her into the perfect woman. Now if only. Benimaru? Lord Rimuru? Oh. Something must have gone wrong if even he's here. Either that or she's somehow managed to rope him into her schemes. Me. What is it? Benimaru? Forgive the intrusion, Millard, but there is a delegation here to see you. Me. A delegation? Benimaru? Yes, Millard. Me. From? Benimaru. From the Lizardman. Me. Do they have a death wish? Benimaru. Lord? This had better be good. If they've sent me anything short of a beauty to mess around with, I'll see to it that they are. Shuna. Lord Rimuru? Me. Right, I'll be there in a moment. Sigh. Chapter 12. Lizardman Dilemma. I'm a raging mess as I make my way towards the gates with Benimaru and Shuna hot on my heels. By the time I get there, however, the delegation has also garnered the attention of quite a few of the others, but one dragon is notably missing from the party. Me. Where's Voldora? Shuna. Lord Voldora is still asleep. Me. No matter. Where's the delegate? The others part to let me through, but what I find surprises me. There's a small army before our very gates. What's more, Ono, the chief of the ogres before I took over, is treating with a very old-looking being that I can only presume is the chief of the Lizardmen. Raphael? Preparations complete. When Ono spots me, he immediately jumps up and begins the ceremonial introduction, first introducing his companion as the Lizardman chieftain. When it comes time for him to introduce me, however, I raise a hand cutting him off. Me? Lizardman, what do you want? Chieftain. I came to speak with the chief of the ogres to request his assistance, but it seems I'm a bit behind on the political structure within the village. Me? So it would seem. Oh no. Ahem. This is Lord Rimuru. He's. Me? I'm guessing you're here about the orcs? Chieftain. So you've heard about them too? Me? Even if I didn't, a dryad made a point about needing my help to stop them. Chieftain. A dryad? Truly? Me? She was pretty convincing. Shuna tenses beside me but remains silent. The Lizardman chieftain notices but also refrains from commenting on the matter. Chieftain? If you've already decided to fight, then might I interest you in an alliance? Me? What did I gain from it? I already have the strength needed to eliminate the foe. Chieftain? But there are over 200,000 orcs. Me? Did I stutter? Chieftain? Me? Now that you're here, however, it'd be a waste to send you back empty-handed, so here's my offer. Submit to me and I will show mercy. Resist and I. Chieftain? Is that a threat? Me? Return and commune with your people. We Lizardmen bow to no one. Chieftain? Gabiru? Silence. Gabiru? I will not remain silent, father. Me? Oh? Gabiru? If this Majin wants a fight, then we shall give him one. To my surprise and perhaps the shock of the chief, the rest of the Lizardmen also shout their agreement. All, that is, except a single female warrior that pulls ever closer to the chieftain whilst gripping her spear. Me? Is that a formal declaration of war? Gabiru doesn't manage to so much as open his mouth to respond before being diced to bits by Sae. The move kills all noise within the clearing, and for a moment it's as though no one can fully process what their eyes just saw. Chieftain? My son. Treachery. Protect the chieftain. I watch as they run around like headless chickens until somehow ending up in a defensive formation with spears pointed toward us in a pike formation. Me? Benimaru? Benimaru doesn't draw his sword, instead forming a ball of black fire within his palm before tossing it their way. Boom! Screams fill the air as the first 3 lines within their formation get burned to a crisp. Me? You can still surrender. Father. Chieftain. My son. The Lizardmen break formation and under the guidance of the female warrior that had been by the chieftain's side, they charge quickly, closing the distance between us and forcing Benimaru to switch to his sword to avoid collateral damage. Despite being outnumbered, Benimaru easily holds his own and through only counters and parries, still manages to cut down the foe until only around 10 of the initial force remains. Amongst them is the girl I'd noticed from before, and as she struggles to remain standing, I rest a hand on Benimaru's shoulder telling him to stop. Walking over to her, I easily dodge her last attack before she collapses into my arms from exhaustion. Me? Join me and I'll spare your people. I will never. Me? The chieftain's your father, isn't he? Me? Join me and he may still yet live. Father. She stretches out her hand towards her unconscious father's body, but her hand quickly falls back to her side. She scowls at her weakness but finally accepts my offer. Please, just don't hurt him. Me? Consider it done. A single wave of the hand sees Shuna by the chieftain's side assisting him, much to my new companion's delight. Benimaru? What should we do about the others? Me? Give them the same choice. Serve or die. If they choose anything other than immediate surrender, kill them. Wah. Me? Kill them all. But you promised. Me? Correction. I promised I'd do nothing to the chieftain. After all, that's all you asked for. I believe your exact words were, please, just don't hurt him. Her eyes widen as she realizes what I'm doing, but even before she manages to utter another sound, the unmistakable sound of someone being beheaded reaches our ears. Turning, she screams out in terror upon seeing the headless corpses of the remaining survivors of the battle, but it's not long before she falls unconscious, and when she does I have Raphael drop the entire illusion she'd created after analyzing the entire situation on our way to the front gate. I can't tell who seems more shocked, my people or the Lizardmen. Seeing their faces, however, does cause me to laugh out loud. Chieftain. What just happened? Gabiru? Unhand my sister at once. Me. Well, she's made her decision. What's yours? Will you also serve? Without hesitation, the entire host drops their spears and falls to their knees alongside their chieftain, who continues staring at me as though I've dropped from space and told them that I'm their long-lost deity. Indeed, everyone kneels save for Gabiru. Gabiru? I will not kneel to. My hand tightens around his sister's neck. Gabiru? I yield. He falls to the ground. Gabiru? Don't. Me. Oh, you don't need to worry about me killing her. I have different plans for her. Gabiru? What plans? Me. The kind that doesn't concern you. However, since you've all decided to serve me, I'll have Ono and the others handle things from here. I'm sure they can handle this much on their own. Chieftain? Wait. Can I at least? Me. You'll see your daughter again, chieftain. You have my word.